Imagine this. The moment your startup starts to grow, really grow, the adrenaline hits. The market's buying, the team's expanding, the investors are calling, the pressure's mounting. It feels like everything's aligning, like victory's already in your hands. But underneath that rush, something dangerous is creeping in, sneaky and relentless. What no one tells you. When a startup grows too fast, everything can spiral out of control quicker than you can breathe. Growth feels like triumph, but it can swallow you whole if you're not ready for what's coming. Picture this fear. Your culture, that spark that made your startup special, fading, getting lost in the chaos of new hires and new demands. The close-knit team you built, the rebel spirit that pushed past limits, starts to feel like a distant memory. The energy turns into noise. The trust becomes suspicion. Everyone's running faster, but no one's moving together anymore. That's the hidden price of speed nobody warns you about. And then the systems. Oh, the systems. Growth demands structure, but too many founders fall into the trap of building bloated, rigid frameworks that choke out creativity. Suddenly, every decision has layers of approval. Innovation slows. The nimble startup collapses under the weight of its own complexity. You wanted scale, but what you got was a maze, a labyrinth where your vision gets lost in translation, and the way we do things becomes the enemy of what you're meant to become. Now, the emotional toll, the burnout. The sleepless nights where every missed deadline, every unhappy customer, every small crisis feels like a crushing blow. It's lonely at the top, and when growth rockets, that loneliness becomes a canyon. Your team looks to you to have all the answers, but the pressure suffocates. You're torn between being a leader and being human. The work you loved starts to feel like a curse. The excitement dims. Doubt creeps in like a poison. What if there was a way to break this? To grow without losing everything that made your startup a wildfire instead of a controlled burn? The truth is, fast growth doesn't have to mean losing control or burning out. But it takes something rare, something beyond the usual advice of scale fast or raise more capital. It demands mastering the art of deliberate growth, a kind of fierce, almost ruthless mindfulness that most never talk about. First, the team, the absolute heartbeat of your company. When scaling, hiring can feel like a sprint, but it must be a marathon. Every person you bring in shapes your culture or destroys it. It's not about filling seats. It's about finding the few who resonate with your mission so deeply that they don't just work there, they become guardians of your vision. These aren't just employees, they're co-creators, fiercely loyal because they see in your startup not just a job, but a cause. This requires slowing down hiring, sharpening your sense of fit until it feels almost instinctive. If you compromise here, you're planting seeds of chaos. Next, communication, the invisible glue that holds everything together when chaos strikes. As the company scales, information gets diluted and distorted. Leaders start living in their own world of reports and dashboards, disconnected from reality on the ground. Founders must become obsessed with transparency. Not just empty open-door slogans, but brutal honesty. Create channels where tough conversations happen freely and safely. Guard against the deadly quiet that lets small problems explode into crises. Your team needs to feel they belong to something real, something that never hides the hard truths. Then, the system. With growth, you need infrastructure, but real infrastructure, one that supports agility, not bureaucracy. Forget traditional process for process's sake. Build systems that serve your people, not the other way around. Let technology scale repetitive tasks so humans can focus on what machines can't: creativity, connection, intuition. Empower teams to make decisions close to where the work happens. This disrupts the usual top-down chokehold and keeps the startup soul alive inside a bigger body. And what about your role as founder? When the startup grows fast, many founders choke on letting go. Control feels safe because it's all they trust. But this is the moment where holding on too tight kills everything. True leadership is about trust. Cultivating leaders within your team who can carry the vision as fiercely as you do. Let them run. Let them fail. Celebrate their wins. This isn't weakness. It's power magnified. A founder who learns this expands their impact exponentially. Burnout and mental strain? They're going to lurk like predators. The solution here isn't secret hacks or gimmicks. It's self-honesty and boundaries, like your life depends on it, because it does. Recognize the signals early: exhaustion, negativity, detachment. Build rituals that ground you daily, cut through distraction, and connect you back to why you started. This isn't a luxury, this is survival. Protect your mind and soul like the most valuable asset because they are. Now imagine the rare and radical step that most miss: building not a company that grows fast for the sake of numbers, but a network that grows strong. Fast growth without meaningful connections is a house of cards. Instead, every relationship in your company should be a deliberate link in a chain of trust and complementary strength. This is how great startups don't just survive growth. They transform by multiplying power through collaboration, diversity, and alignment of purpose. And here's the final truth: this kind of growth is not easy. It demands rejecting comfort, questioning every norm, and being willing to burn bridges with old ways of thinking. It asks you to be patient in a world hungry for instant results, to see beyond quarterly reports and hype cycles, and to embrace a long game that few are brave enough to play. Only this patience builds endurance, that rare stamina where real impact hides. For founders, investors, leaders watching right now, understand this: you are not meant to just fit in, to run a system that's already broken. You are here to transcend the old games, to unlock new ways of being, working, and creating together. The moment your startup grows too fast is the moment you must slow down your thinking, speed up your wisdom, and increase the intention behind every move. Don't just survive this phase, redefine it. The fast growth nightmare isn't a death sentence, it's a test. A brutal challenge that forces you to expand what leadership, culture, and connection mean for your startup. If you master this, if you seize this moment to build a radical, resilient network at your core, your company won't just be bigger, it will become extraordinary in ways growth alone could never buy. This is the edge where the few who dare become more will outpace, outsmart, and outlast the many who blindly chase growth. The question is, do you want to be just another startup lost to speed, or the rare flame that grows so bright it shifts the world? The path forward is clear but demanding. Build slow with purpose, hire for mission, not urgency. Communicate with brutal honesty. Build systems that serve, not bind. Empower leadership to spread, not clamp. Guard your mind fiercely. Connect deeply. Embrace the long game. This is how the fastest growing startups don't just get big, they become unstoppable forces of transformation. And remember, growth is not the end, it's the beginning. The real challenge isn't expansion itself, but maintaining the soul and fire that set your startup apart in the first place. If the fire dies, everything else is just noise. So protect it, feed it, and when the world yells for speed, whisper back with wisdom and rise beyond.